Hello and welcome to SDN Tech Forum. This is another video in AWS CrashCourse series. So far, you know how to work with VPC, what is an EC2, and how to attach another EBS volume to your EC2 instance. Now we are moving towards more of enterprise practices, and in this video we are going to talk about file storage. In AWS term, it's elastic file storage, which is Linux-like folder structure where it can be a shared drive where all the users can access the same drive at the same time, right? So this is going to be a step-by-step tutorial, and I'll show you in demo how to create your EFS stack and how to attach it or mount it with multiple EC2 instances, right? So this is demo. Pay attention to demo, and this can be a little bit longer video format. All right, let's go and understand what is EFS. So what we have in agenda, first we will understand what is AWS EFS, characteristics of EFS, then we will see how to set up EFS file system, how to access that, then where else you can use it, and managing monitoring, finally conclusion, and then we'll go into demo. All right. Introduction to EFS. EFS is a cloud-based file storage, just like Amazon S3, but this is more like a Linux file structure, which provide a secure, scalable, and cost-effective way to store and share data across multiple EC2 instances. So that is the primary goal. It has to be a shared access uh, with multiple EC2 instances. So it's a regional service. It is designed to be highly available, durable, with no single point of failure. Just like cloud characteristics, it is highly available, it is durable. With EFS, you can easily store and share file across multiple EC2. Alright, in this tutorial, we will explore how to set up EFS file system, how to mount it, and how to access it, and how to use it. So all those things I'm going to show you in demo. So what is the characteristics of EFS? It's fully managed, high performance, highly available, highly scalable network file system. So it's fully managed. That means you don't have to worry about the patching and scaling, etc. Everything is managed by EFS, AWS. Deliver a standard network file system, NFS version 4 it supports. It is able to deliver NFS data across unlimited size. So it's virtually unlimited scale in size, so you don't have to worry about the upper limit like your EBS volume, which cap at 16 TB or 64 TB in some cases. Designed to match the characteristics and durability and availability of S3. So you can see S3 is a pure native cloud storage, but if you have a use case where you still want a network attached storage, EFS is a way to go. Replicate across multiple availability zone, that means it's a regional service. There is no upfront fee for using it. You only pay for what you use. Setting up EFS file system is pretty straightforward. You need to create EFS stack in AWS, then you can configure file system with desired setting such as performance mode encryption. So once you create your EFS volume, you have granular control or setting so that you can control the performance, IOPS, encryption, etc. Just like any other AWS offering. Once the file system is set up, you will need to create an access point or mount point, which is virtual directory that allow you to access the file system. So you have to mount this file to EC2 instances, and you will see how to do that. Finally, this is our demo setup. This is how the demo setup is going to look like. So we will have two web servers running in two different availability zone. They both have the same security group applied. So that's my EC2 side of the house. Then on the right side, we will create EFS stack. For that EF stack, we will apply a security group, and this security group essentially nest my EC2 security group, and we will allow protocol NFS. That means any EC2 instance with a security group, say for example web server, can talk to my EFS instance if they are coming with the protocol NFS. And that's how you'll see the interoperability happens. Accessing file system. you can access it like a standard Linux command. So EFS this is POSIX compliant. That means you have just Linux like folder structure, and you can apply folder permissions. You can control the access using chmod, file permissions, everything just like any Linux directory. In addition to the standard Linux command, you can also use AWS CLI to manage the file system. AWS CLI allow you to create, delete, and modify files and directory. So if you are a Linux administrator, you will probably stick to Linux CLI, but if you want to do some bulk action, AWS CLI can give you that option as well. You can use EFS with other AWS services. For example, you can use EFS with Amazon S3 to store shared file across multiple EC2 instances, or with AWS Glacier. So that means you can apply a life cycle on your EFS. So the data can be moved from EFS store to S3 or Glacier based on like how old is the data or the frequency, etc. In addition, you can use EFS with cloud container services, Elastic Container Services, or Kubernetes services to store shared file across multiple containers. You can also use EFS with SageMaker, which is your AI ML tool, or MapReduce. So there are multiple uses wherever you want to store uh, a large variety of data for data processing, and it has to be shared. EFS is a good choice. Managing and monitoring file system. Once the file system is set up, you can use AWS Management Console to manage or monitor it. Because it's a managed service, you can use a console to view performance of the file system, such as read and write throughput, because it's a shared service. So you always have to make sure that you have enough IOPS and to view uses and storage capacity of the file system. You can also use the console to modify setting of file systems, such as performance mode, encryption, access control. So all these knobs are available to you. And finally, we are getting into demo. In this AWS tutorial, now you know what is EFS, how to use the EFS, and let's get into demo. And this is actually not precise steps, but I tried to give you an overview of the actions what we are going to take into demo. So what we will do, we will have two web server running into two different AG. Both web server have same security group applied to that. Then, so that's my baseline. Then what I will do, I'll go ahead and create a new security group for NFS access. Within this security group, we are going to call EC2 security group and allow NFS protocol. So that's step one. We have servers running. You can call it step 0 because that's the baseline. Step 1 is create a new security group. That's kind of like a prerequisite. Then what we will do, we will go ahead and go to find EFS service and create a new EFS stack. That's the place where you can actually apply granular control. Do you want lifecycle management? Do you want encryption and all those things? I'll talk about that. And we'll attach subnet to that EFS so that it will be visible into those subnets. And once your EFS stack creation is successful, AWS EFS will give you a mount point. You can copy that mount point, go back to EC2 CLI, and create a new directory which will represent the mount point, and then paste the command to mount this, and then from there onwards you will have your shared drive available all the time, and you don't have to mess with FSTab just like in EBS case. All right, so let's go to our demo. So I have two web servers which are in stop state. Let me select them and go ahead and say instant state, start instance. While the instances are coming up, let's take a look at one of the instance. Uh, it is a public instance, so it has a public IP associated to that. What I want you to take a look is the security part of it. In security, you can see we have a security group applied, which is I named it like a web security group, and you can see it has certain ports allowed, 80, 22, 443, typical access. Okay, so we have web server which has a security group allowed. That's our baseline. Also pay attention in which region it is, or in which availability zone it is working. Okay, so that you can go find it in details. It is here. Okay, AMI subnet ID. It clearly tell me that it is in US East 1B. Okay, and this is the VPC we need to remember. All right, let's go to our another instance, and we will do the same exercise. I hope I open the same one. Yes, because the public IP address is different, and this one is in US East 1A. The same security group is applied. Okay, fine. Let's go to EC2. While my instances are coming up, okay, they are running. We have 3 instances running. Let's go ahead and create a new security group. And you can create the new security group from EC2 dashboard itself. Create a security group. And I'm going to refer my notes because I'm doing this live with you. All right, so we are going to call this security group NFS access. Now EFS to EC2 access. Okay. VPC, make sure we have to select the VPC where we have our web servers. This is not the correct VPC. Okay. That end in 87F. Yep, 87F. Let's add an inbound rule. And in this inbound rule, we are going to call another security group, not any particular protocol, but we want to call a security group. So that's the beauty of uh, source system TCP security group. Web. Okay. So let's see what we have here. We have all kind of traffic protocols, Oracle. Okay. That is, yep. So we have security groups here. Couple of security group. I think this is our security group, and I'm going to say protocol is NFS. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to slow you down here, but this is our inbound rule, and outbound rule is not needed. So that's all good. We have a security group created which allow NFS protocol, and you just select the NFS. It will take care of like a port type and port range, and then attach the security group. So we are attaching a security group which ends in E12. All right, let's go ahead and create the security group. Security group is being created. Okay, and it is part of our VPC, and it has one inbound rule which allow NFS. All right, so that's step one. Now I just want to quickly confirm that what was the security group with our EC2 instance. Okay, okay, open one of this, and security group instance is E12. Okay, so that is good, and we have our both all the instances running. Now let's go ahead and attach to these instances because we will need that once we have our EC2 connected. So first I'm going to connect to US East 1A. Right, I'm connected as EC2 user. So that was our instance 850. Let's go ahead and connect to another instance. and I'm going to say connect. So we will keep the CLI open because we will need that at the later half of our stack creation. All right, so let's go back to EC2 dashboard, and from there what we are going to do, we are going to this is interesting why my instance is saying one running, though I have three instances running. And okay, so there are some status checks still going on. Anyways, let's come and find EFS service. I'm going to open that in different tab. So right click, open link in a new tab, move it a little bit here, and this is the AWS EFS landing page. Once you first access the service, AWS does give you a nice introduction of the capabilities and what it is used and the pricing, of course. So let's take a look. Right, it has more detail than what I have shown you in my slides, but I try to just concise everything to save some time. Pricing is standard storage is 0.30, that's like 30 cent per GB, and as you can see it's a bit expensive than EBS. And obviously you can tier it just like S3 and reduce your cost. Like if you come to infrequent access requests, it is as low as 1 cent per GB. It's nice in YouTube in introduction. Benefit, as we discussed, dynamic elasticity, fully managed, it's virtually unlimited space, scalable performance, and shared file storage, right? That's why you want to create a EFS. Okay, let's create EFS file system. Pretty straightforward. We will name it SDN NFS share. Okay, and make sure we select the right VPC because we have a couple of VPCs going on, 87F, and I would like to keep it standard because anyways I'm going to kill that after the demo. So let's keep it standard. That means I have the high availability available here. You can see I have this file system created, and view file system general, it's a general purpose. Automatic backup is enabling, and encryption is there, right? You have the meter size if you want to create any tags or policy. Access point, we have not got any access point. That's what we are going to do next. Network, it tell me that availability zone is available in two zones, 1A and 1B, right? And this is all my mount targeting. Replication, there is no replication going on, but you can go obviously go ahead and create replication. Okay, so now let's go back uh, to the screen. Let's see if I can just, okay, so I did enable automatic backup. I do not want any backup. Let me delete that. Transition to AI, I'll say none. So I'm just trying to show you the features, right? What we discussed. So there is a lifecycle management available. I'm just going to say none, and this also I'll say none. Throughput is enhanced throughput or bursting throughput based on your application. You have the expectations, right? But you always have the options here. All right. Save changes. It's all good. And let's go and say attach. Mount via DNS, mount via IP using the Mountus helper. So let's see, mount via DNS and mount via IP, and all these details are here. What we have not done here is attaching the security group, right? We discussed that you can attach the security group, and that's the thing we didn't do. Okay, attach. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so in edit we have only these options. Let me go ahead and select this and say create file system. Okay, it's creating another file system, but let me click customize. Okay, so I think that's what we missed earlier. Let me create a custom file system and cancel this one. Okay, let me delete this, and I'm going to say confirm the deletion by entering file system ID. Okay, you have to copy and paste this. I think mistakes are good. It gives you a holistic idea, right? We can all learn from our mistake. Deleting mount target. While this is getting deleted, let's go ahead and create another EFS file system. Okay, I'm going to say create file system, and this time we'll go customize SDN NFS. Select the VPC. Standard is fine. I'm going to say customize. No automatic backup. No lifecycle management. Okay, no encryption. Bursting, that's fine. Additional is general purpose, that's okay. We don't want to create a tag, but I highly recommend you to create tag in your production environment. Yeah, so this is the thing we were missing. We have VPC selected, we have two availability zone. Within that availability zone, I want to make sure that which availability zone the my mount point is available. So I'm using public subnet here in both cases. So I'm going to select my public subnets. Okay, you can choose security group. Security group is something which ends in the security group what we created, right? So that is called NFS access, because this is the security group has one more security group under that. You can see, right? So we don't want default one. Let me just kill the default. Let me kill the default and add. Good that we named the security group so that we don't have to deal with those numbers NFS. So now you can see for mount target we have availability zone mapped to the subnet, and then we have security group allowed to that. Perfect. This looks good. File system policy. Okay, you can apply policies here. Prevent anonymous access, read-only access to default, read access. Now, this is all looks good. So we'll just grant additional permissions. You can permission. Let me open that, and we can go through this at the end of the video. But by default, whatever is there is good. All right, review and create. Name, performance mode, throughput, encryption. Well, since there is no encryption, no key, lifecycle management, none, automatic backup, no. I have the right VPC. My availability zone is our standards, and these are my mount target with respect to subnets and the security group assigned to that, right? And that's the NFS security group. File policy, we don't want anything. So let's go ahead and say create. So this time we created more granular and controlled policy because we get to see all the options. File system is available. So you can either click view file system here, or you can just select this and then view details. This time around, we have seen all those options, but just look at the access point and network one more time. So we have mount target state creating. Wait for it. Uh, Make sure that it is created. And so AWS is very quick to tell you that service is available uh, on the UI, but it may still going through some checks and other things. You have seen that with EC2, right? So it has to pass all the checks before you can actually connect to the resource and start making any changes. All right, let's try to see attach, and that's where you want to see mount via DNS or mount via IP. I am not very sure, but let's do this mount via IP. And first we want a mount point for our client in US East 1, and this is what I'm going to just copy it and save it somewhere. Okay, so let's look at this information together. Okay, let's look at this information together. Okay, let me, I know it's kind of new document, and here you can see. Okay, so this is actually uh, saying sudo mount NFS size etc. and to what subnet, to what IP address, and then this is the directory, right? So by default, EFS give you a directory suggestion called EFS, but you don't have to stick to that. You can actually go ahead and change it to whatever is your format. Okay, so now we have a mount point. Let's go ahead and connect to our first EC2 console, which is yeah, which is in this subnet 10.0.0, and the another one which is in US East 1B, that is 10.0.2. Okay, so let's first come here, and we have to install one quick command, sudo yum install -1, and I'm going to paste this command in comment section or description, so don't worry about that. What we are going to do, we are going to install EFS util from Amazon wiki, Amazon repo, Amazon EFS utils. Okay, Amazon EFS utils available. Amazon sudo yum install Amazon EFS util. Okay, I'm just okay. Maybe this is right. Let's create, first see where we are. We're in the home directory. Let's say L. This is a fresh machine, so nothing much on this. Let's go ahead and create a directory, mkdir slash data at the home, and we can do let's hyphen and you can see we have a directory created data. So let's go to that data directory, and from there what we are going to do, we are going to paste this EFS. Let's change the EFS with data. EFS mount point does not exist. Okay, let me find in. Okay, no server port. I think this is I got some extra spaces during copy and paste that has to go together. Okay, cannot find in data. Okay, let's go and get our mount point. Okay, so these are two EFS instances. I'm going to look at access point, create access point. Okay, file system, this root directory, group POSIX user. Okay, create access point, or let's go and say attach mount via DNS, mount via IP. This is what we have to change, but it's not working. So let me try mount via uh, using the EFS mount helper. I think this is what we are missing because we don't have Amazon utils, um, and hence we are not able to use this command. Okay, let's see if the user guide is of some help here. Mounting on a supported EC2 instances, using EFS mount helper. Yes, let's see how it works. Mount helper, dev option, file system ID, mount target IP address. DNS name is in attach, okay. And then what you can do, the EFS client, getting support logs, this file system, file system to mount. Okay, you are telling me a lot of literature, and this is the actual thing you have to do. So AWS run shell script. For more information, EFC mount helper. Okay, Amazon EFS utils. That's what we want to add here. Let me go and see. Sudo yum install. Okay, yep, this is started coming up, and now I think we are good to with uh, mount with DNS. Even IP should work, but let me just copy this and see if I can mount with DNS. I'm going to change the EFS to data. You don't have to be storage expert to do all these things. You can simply follow along the instructions, and mount data point does not exist. Okay. Okay, I think what I didn't get here is mount data does not exist. Okay, but we do have cd, and then try to do this. Yes, so basically I was inside the folder and it was trying to see where is the data in that folder, right? So now our mount is successful. And from there, what we can do, we can actually create something in that data store. df-ht. All right, so you can see we have a few file systems, and this is what I wanted to show you. 127 on my local host. I have a NFS4 mounted, and that is the path, right? Sorry for the confusion, but when we do the second one, it will be pretty straightforward. So let's create a file um, quickly for our validation purpose. Cd data, and here we are going to create a file. Touch 2 1. Okay, perfect. So we have a empty file created. Now let's go and do the same, repeat the same thing for EC2, web server 2. So as you can see, the first thing what you have to do before you mount, you have to do sudo yum install Amazon EFS util, so that you can simply use the mount point DNS name right? Here we didn't create the directory. So let's look at, I'm going to create a directory just like earlier, and I'm going to call it data again. Okay, so we have a data directory created. And from data directory, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply try to mount. So this was for US East 1A. Now let's do the same thing for US East 1B. Okay, access points, and let's go ahead and say attach. Attach via this, and I'm going to copy it here and go back to my new EC2 instance and paste it. Just have to change this with data. Since we have the Amazon EFS util installed, all the dependencies are taken care, and you can just mount with one single line of command. So that saves a lot of time from system admin perspective. That's the beauty of cloud, or the power of the cloud. Okay, now let's go to, let me first show you if we can see it as NFS mount. Same thing. Locally, we have a NFS4 drive attached to the path home directory slash data. Let's go to that data folder. Try to do. You can see this is a shared drive. Since we both EC2 instances, they are part of the same security group. That means the same. They both have access to the same shared drive, and that is why when you created a file on EC2 one instance, you can see the same file on EC2 two instance, EC2 second instance. Wow. Okay, let's do the same thing. Create one more file, and obviously we need sudo. And I'm going to say I am EC. Now I'm going to create another empty file. I'm EC202, and we will just do a final leg of verification by going to EC2 instance 1 and see if this file started showing up there. By that, we can prove that we have our NFS share available, and it is shared among common security group. So we are in data directory. As you can see, we have two folders. All right, as you can see, both the files are visible on both EC2 instances, right? Though you created them separately. Right. So this is what we can verify from EC2 side. Let's go and look at an EFS now, right? So we have attached or mount that using DNS. This is the metered size right now, which says that is in standard 1 zones, only 6 KB is being used, and everything is in standard, right? We didn't do a infrequent access, you remember. What we can do, we can go to monitoring, and there are some CloudWatch matrices already available by default, right? Because you know that all the Linux AMIs, Amazon AMIs, they have the SSM agent running, which send certain matrices by default. So you get the visibility out of the box. Okay, but this may not be very granular, or you may be missing some matrices. For that, you can do something extra, and I'm going to show you here installing boot core to enhance your EFS file system monitoring. But this is a good starting point. You have all the matrices here. Let's go to access point. No access point. Come to network. Yes, this is what I wanted to show you. So you can see we have two availability zone. We have two mount target IDs. These are tied to the subnets, and as you can see, we have the IP address available. So in US East 1A machine, any machine which is using this mount target is mapped to my EFS, which has the IP address of 116. and 129 249 for USB. So earlier, you remember these were like under creating, but it must say available. That means your NFS share is available in for your systems in this availability zone. All right, what you can do, you can actually, if you want some granular monitoring, I recommend you install boot core package. Boot core package sends file system mount status to Amazon CloudWatch log, and we will install that when we are doing a CloudWatch video. During that time, I'll show you how to install boot core and what extra things we are getting with respect to um, monitoring when we actually go to CloudWatch. You can also click here and say see more in CloudWatch, and it will take you to CloudWatch dashboard. But I'll save that for some other video. We have CloudWatch in our agenda. This is some detailed matrices around your uh, IOPS. All right, so I think this video was a little bit longer. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video, you learned things, and sometimes we run into uh, goof ups, but that always help us to come out strong. Yeah. So thank you very much for staying along. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your coworker if they are interested to learn AWS real fast. AWS is huge, but if you want to learn it like in a crash course scenario, spread a word. Thank you so much for staying with me.